There's been a lot of new news with Roster Mania, so in this video, I'm going to update you all on what you might have missed over this weekend. Let's kick it off by starting out with Twitter. So first things first, Minnesota Rokkr have absolutely squad wiped. Attach, Cammy, Bant, Fame, and Afro are all not being re-signed. Their contracts are all not being extended. That means the Rokkr has a complete slate going into next season, and they also released their coach, Brian Saint, last week. So as of right now, Roster doesn't have anybody except for, I believe, Looney right now is like their assistant coach / analyst. One interesting thing that I want to point out about this is I replied to this tweet from CDL Intel saying they should have rebuilt around Afro, which is something I believe in. And apparently a lot of people think that I'm completely faded on this. I don't know about you, but Afro had a pretty solid season. I mean, this is his card. Obviously, these breaking point cards are based on solely stats and not, any other external factors. But Afro had by far the highest rated card on his team from anybody else in Minnesota Rokkr. All the rest of them were below an 80. Most of them, I think, were even in the low 70s. So I don't think it was that faded take to say rebuild around Afro. Let me know what you think about that, but I personally think Afro is a top 20 player in the league for sure, and should be someone they should have rebuilt around. Another thing here is Boston Breach is another team added to the list of people that are teams that have had a conversation with Envoy. So Envoy is looking like one of the more sought after players in the offseason. Obviously, I'm sure we know that he's an unrestricted free agent. He's one of the best at what he does, at being that sort of do it all, dirty work, second SMG type of guy. So definitely a really, really good player. I think that, not a lot of players can play like him. Boston and Optic obviously being two of the teams that have conversations with him, so that's interesting to keep an eye on. Another thing here is Awakening is being released by the Boston Breach. As you can see here, you're going to see a lot of similar faces. You're going to see the rotation. You're going to see Jacob Hale. You're going to see CDL Intel. You're going to see Breaking Point. Those are going to be obviously the big ones you want to look out for. CDL Scrim Intel is another one that's not confirmed, but usually has some decent leaks. But yeah, Awakening is being released by Boston Breach, so we will see where he ends up going. We also saw Boston Breach have released Vivid and Nero, which I'm sure most of us expected. Personally, I think both of these guys can end up on a team next year. It'll be interesting to see if both of them do. It's looking like it's going to be hard to end up on a team next year with people wanting to spend less money and looking for more players that are willing to take minimums. We'll see how many veterans, like someone like Vivid Nero at this point has been in the league for a couple years. We'll see how many of these guys can end up on a team depending on how much money they're willing to accept for their contract. And another one that just literally popped up 5 minutes ago on Twitter is NYSL officially offered Kismet a new contract. Kismet is technically an unrestricted free agent, but they offered him a new contract. I mean, you could see my reply here that didn't see that one coming. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic. Everyone knew that they would offer him a contract. It makes sense for them to want to stay with Kiz, and I would understand why he wouldn't leave. So with that being said, let's hop on over to our graphic and move some pieces around. First things first, we're going to take everybody from Minnesota Rokkr and we're going to slide them down to this free agent section because, well, none of them are getting re-signed. And then we can also move Big Wake and Nero down here. I already have Vivid down here, so we don't have to move him. But I mean, you can see, the free agents list is piling up, and this doesn't even include all the top challengers players, right? I think there's only like one top challengers player I really put in here, that being Abuza, and then obviously Gwyn is over here. But there's going to be a lot of free agents heading into this season. Obviously, I can move the LA Thieves guys down, but at this point, there's literally no room down here, so it's kind of going to be hard to move any of these guys down to the free agents list, even though all of them are unrestricted free agents. Obviously, Hook and Ghosty are probably going to be gone from Optic, which is pretty unfortunate. I believe Ghosty said something on stream about like if any GMs are looking to sign me, but I saw like a clip of it on Twitter, so I guess obviously he could have been joking, but it's not looking great for Ghosty or Hook in terms of staying on Optic, but I'm sure most of us can expect that at this point. We all know about Toronto Ultra at this point, looking to possibly squad wipe or at least just keep Scrappy, which is very interesting. We'll see if any team's willing to buy out CleanX or Insight. As I'm editing this video, Toronto Ultra announced that they are not extending Hixie, so literally I knew there was gonna be more stuff that was gonna come out today during the day. So Hixie is being replaced or being removed from this Toronto Ultra team. So we're gonna take Hixie and we're gonna move him on out into the free agents list. Pretty big news. Interesting to me that they are moving on from Hixie. If I actually go back to Chrome real quick, from the rotation, obviously take this with a grain of salt. The rotation is not a necessary verified leak or anything like that, but they're saying Toronto Ultra aren't worried about finances and they're actually doing this based on their management. Their management's the one making these roster decisions. Pretty interesting. If this isn't financial, I don't know exactly, I think Hixie's the one that would get changed if that is true. So if the rumors about CleanX and Insight aren't true and they're just making a one-man swap for Hixie, I think that can make a ton of sense. And if they were able to bring in someone like Envoy to replace Hixie, I think Toronto Ultra could be extreme contenders next season. But yeah, just wanted to make sure I got that in there because this did happening while I was editing. I'm curious as to what will happen if nobody buys out Clean Extra Insight, right? Obviously, they're trying to sell them because they're having money issues. If nobody buys them out, and let's say they have to pay them for this next year, do they literally not have the money to pay them? Or is it just that they don't want to have to pay them? So that'll be interesting to see what ends up happening if there really is some big financial issues going on over at Ultra and they cannot fulfill the contracts. I also now noticed that on the CDL contracts document that Jacob Hale is using, Kremp isn't listed under Boston Breach. So I will move him down here. I'm not 100% sure. I mean, he updates this pretty often, it looks like. So I'm not sure if that's 100% fact, but that's kind of looking like Kremp might not be on Boston. But for right now, that's kind of looking like what we're looking at. I'll remove my camera so you can get a full view of the page here, the graphic. Obviously, you know, I should do this for the sake of visual representation. I will move LA Thieves down here just so you can actually see that they have a complete clean slate. But this is what we're kind of looking at as of right now with the current state of Roster Mania. And I have a feeling by the time I upload this video, we're gonna have even more information in regards to more unrestricted or extended players for this free agency. Thanks for watching this quick video. If you want to keep up to date with Roster Mania, you want to talk about Roster Mania, all that sorts of thing, make sure to sub to this channel. You can also follow me on Twitter, which is linked down below. I'm down to chat with anyone, whether it be DMs or whatever, tweet at me. If you want to talk about Roster Mania, I'm looking for more friends in the CDL. So feel free to reach out to me if you're interested, or just drop a comment down below if you want to talk. That's all good with me. And with that being said, hopefully I'll see you all in the next video, which probably will end up being today because I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of news.